Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. It's the midweek episode brought to you by SeatGeek. We got slumps and one guy proving everyone wrong. So let's talk all about it. Bow, 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 bow.
Oh, you look so good today, Jake. What the freak?
Cult leader.
Just got back from Nepal.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, brought to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jimmy. His name is Jake. He's wearing, it is a little culty shirt, and Trevor's wearing a Valley Boys hoodie in the Valley. Wow.
First place Pirates, too.
Producer BBD behind the dish. We got the midweek episode, some kind of overarching like team updates, like what's going on with these fellas, and then some personal ones as well, some weird situations. That's the app. Jake, how you doing?
James, Trevor, David, fell asleep on the couch last night the moment the Yankees game ended against the AAA exhibition they're putting on this week. Oakland's as bad as I've seen a team. It's really sad. Like, I wish I was protesting with the Oakland fans, because I get if your owner wants to move and stuff, that product on the field. And not to be shots fired at the lads, but it's their pitching especially is just, you're really playing from behind right now. But got a good night's sleep on the couch. Back gets better support on the couch. And then, put on my cult leader outfit. We're going to your stadium today, Trev. Get some more scouting reports for you. And I'm jazzy to talk with the full gang, because we are starting to get to, like, games are mattering. If you're the Cardinals, you can't slip up anymore. Like, the Yankees have the Rays coming into town. If they blow that, they will not be able to catch them. So games matter in May, Trev.
We get it, bro. You placed a bet on the Cardinals to win the division. We get it. They don't need a pep talk from you every dang episode, all right?
Pep there.
You sleep on the couch a lot or what? What's up with that?
Only when Jess's old boss comes over and stays with us.
Oh.
All right. Hey, you know what? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Jake.
Anytime.
I celebrated Mother's Day last night with Olivia. I took her out to a nice dinner because we got a lot of stuff going on the weekend.
I like
so we
that.
went out early and had a nice little night together. And I am a little scared of this episode because we're going to be talking about the Mets. And we haven't really covered the Mets a ton other than, some of the pitching staff injuries and the Scherzer stuff. And the first time I feel like we're going to really cover them in depth, we're going to probably talk about a lot of the struggles. But maybe we'll find, a light at the end of the tunnel or something like that for Mets fans. Maybe. I'm hoping.
Maybe.
What do you think, James?
We can start with the Mets. Is anyone going to sponsor? Does anyone want to sponsor the Mets?
Shady Rays.
Okay, yeah.
Shady Rays.
My cult outfit a little bit.
You can fall asleep at the game. People won't know.
They won't know. I'm excited to wear my
Now
Shady
you look like
Rays.
Tom Cruise at Coachella.
Okay, going back on with the sunglasses.
Yeah, it is wild how much better you look when the sunglasses come on.
The more of my face you cover with Shady Rays, our friends at Shady Rays. We got some special stuff going on with them. They are our partner throughout Blitzball, which has been incredible. If you guys have been watching that on the YouTube, you already know. If you don't, you should. And you already know Shady Rays, world-class product. If you lose or break your glasses, they send you a replacement. No Q's aid. It's no questions asked, people. Okay? So basically, you get lifelong glasses from Shady Rays. Summer's here. Go to a ball game. I'm wearing shades the whole game today, Jim.
I probably am too.
Hold me to that.
I got a couple pairs. The whole world can hold you to it because we're going to be on camera for majority of the game.
Yeah.
Trev, we got hooked up. Jake got hooked up.
I did some networking. You know me and the people.
Guess whose seats we're sitting in, Jake? In our Shady Ray glasses. So Shady Rays is getting like double sponsorship.
Code Talkin.
Wait a second.
Code Talkin.
What kind of seats you sitting in today?
Code Talkin, 50% off 2+ pairs. Get yourself a pair. Get a friend a pair. Get yourself multiple pairs at shadyrays.com. Talkin, 50% off. And you'll see them. It's a friend of a friend of a friend seats,
Yeah.
If you're watching the game,
Dude, they might be the
Jake,
best seats
put
in the
those glasses
stadium.
Back on.
There's an argument.
Lorne Michaels seats.
What? Whoa, like Lorne Michaels of Saturday Night Live?
I think they're like Saturday Night Live seats, but like when Fallon goes, he sits there. Jake got offered
when Lauren
those.
goes, he sits there.
What?
Yeah.
I met a couple.
I always told you you're a freaking movie star.
The Colt's working, baby. I just texted Coe Tucker. I said, it's time to start the Colt. He said, no better date than today. So
He says that to everything.
yeah, it's true.
I was actually texting him yesterday, so no big deal.
He's I think he's coming back on the field Friday. Rocks need some help. And so do the Mets.
So do the Mets. Yeah.
I'm just watching you guys. I don't know what's going on over there. Saturday Night Live seats, Yankee games. Good for you. I'm happy for you guys.
The Mets have 4 hitters. Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil. All OPS plus is positive. I mean, Nimmo's numbers are great.
I think Alonso tied the NL lead of homers last night with Muncy.
Alonso is mashing the ball. The average is low. I think that's lower for him than usual. The on base isn't incredible, but he's absolutely smoking balls he hits, so his overarching numbers are good. Lindor might be struggling, but it looks like the slugging's saving him a little bit. I think you want more, but it's not terrible. McNeil's hitting. The pitching is a problem. And is it injuries? Is it pitching through injuries? Oh, I don't know, but they are second to last in the league in FIP, or in FIP, fielding independent pitching. So, like, are the pitchers just taking care of business on their own, like not relying on the fielders, blah, blah. And Oakland is last, and as Jake said, Oakland is not even a real team. Like, they're trying to lose on purpose, and it's a bizarre. If they go 500 the rest of the way, they lose 91 games. They're on pace to be the historically worst team ever to play a full Major League Baseball season. So technically the Mets, I'm not counting Oakland, they're last in FIP. And that's on the pitchers. They're also pretty bad at just straight up ERA. I think they're in the bottom 10 there. And I don't know, like some of the names are the names you wanted, right? Like Senga's got 6 starts. Scherzer's got 5 starts. Obviously Verlander, that's a big one. Carrasco's got 3. McGill hasn't been good. David Peterson hasn't been good. So they've lost, what was their record? 14 of the last, 12 of the last 15 or something
12 of their last 15. They're 2 games under 500, 17 and 19 on the season.
It's been all over the place. You mentioned Pete's overall numbers look pretty good, but, as of lately, the last, 14 days, 688 OPS, 298 OBP. So there's been some issues kind of all over the field. I think if you look at, the overall numbers, you're right, James, 26th overall in ERA for their starting pitchers. I always like to look at WHIP. How many people are you freaking letting on base per inning? 27th overall in WHIP for their starters. And that's, look, yes, Cookie's going to be back. He had 3 starts and then, was injured. He's going to come back soon. Hopefully he can return to form. Scherzer, I don't know what to make of what's going on with him. I called yesterday before they scratched him for a start. I was on Baseball Today with C. Rose, and I was like, why is he pitching? His quotes were saying, I know what this is. It's something in my shoulder, my scap, and all it needs is rest. I had the same thing in 2019. It just needs a little rest. I'm like, but you're pitching through it? So they made the savvy decision to not pitch him, thank goodness. And hopefully that calms down and Scherzer can return to form. We know the velo hasn't really been there. He hasn't been himself, but if I would bank on Max Scherzer being a pretty good pitcher this year, as long as he's healthy. I think that's a key for them, is kind of getting all these guys they signed to pitching, and kind of getting in some sort of rhythm. They have not been able to do that. And the depth they've brought up to replace these guys, for the most part, they have not performed, up to standards at all. So it's kind of just been a little bit of everywhere. There's been some decent spots in the bullpen. I'm not going to pat myself on the back again about David Robertson, but my goodness, he's the best. And without him, I think their record could be a lot worse.
What's going on with Verlander?
He made his first start. He makes his second start today.
Yeah. Okay.
And his first start, I think he landed at 5-2 Five
Yeah, they popped him for 2 homers in the first, and
Yeah.
he was good after
Then he was
that.
fine. Okay.
So yeah, I
That's
mean,
nice.
Verlander's back, and let's be honest. Like he was their huge move. Like he was supposed to replace DeGrom. He won the Cy last year. He's Justin Verlander. They played it safe with him from the start. He could, if he goes out against Cincinnati today and throws 7 shut, none of us would be surprised. I feel like this isn't a good baseball comparison, but when we talk about a hitter being a click off, it's the littlest thing. And it's, Trev, I see I got your interest because it's something you love, but it feels like this rotation is a click off, and it should come, right? Because one of the question marks was Senga and what would it look like early, and he's actually been great. And the Ghost Fork, the numbers on it are crazy. Like he's doing his thing. Verlander, none of us will bet against him. That if Scherzer gets the rest he needs, and he knows his body better than probably any other player in MLB. Remember when he sat out a World Series start because he knew he couldn't do it, but he knew he kind of could the next day.
That's what he said this was, or similar, yeah.
So after that, McGill, Peterson, Lucchesi, I don't know. Like, let's see. But I think if those other 3 click, then those guys can potentially see that and pass the baton. We see that in baseball. The bullpen makes me a little nervous. I know the stats, and I don't think Mets fans are saying it's the problem, but, D-Rob, Ottavino, Drew Smith, you like that. It gets a little thin after that, man, and obviously Edwin Diaz right before the season, and we know how tough that was. Brooks Raley was kind of a big ad for them. He's on the IL. I really like Montes Tejoca, which is, I don't know, like a funny sentence, but watch that guy throw a baseball, but he had to get TJ. I don't know, man, like, if you want to go on a winning streak in today's MLB, obviously you need a lot of things to go right. But I'm worried that, say the rotation gets going, will the bullpen be able to do it for win 8 out of 10? Because you're going to start burning through those guys a lot more, which you haven't been. So I don't know. The Mets' concerns are kind of real. Buck, coach him up, right? We're a manager's podcast.
Can I tell you something I don't know. Some people find this interesting. I'm one of them. Some people find this completely irrelevant. The Mets are 30th in strength of schedule so far. They've had, according to Baseball Reference, the easiest schedule in all of baseball. They are 12-12 against teams under 500. That's not good.
It's not good.
That means you're one of them. And they are 5-7 against teams over 500. So I don't know what that means or not. Their schedule stays kind of relatively easy for a little bit, so maybe get out of it. And I think June is hell. There's 1 month that's a little bit of a hell schedule for the Mets. I'm not sure which one it is. I forget. But I was hoping when I looked that up that it was a different tale.
We have the stats. The overall, their opponents have a .469 winning percentage against other teams. For a 76 win pace over 162, and they're obviously 19-17 against the Mets. I think this is interesting because, offensively they haven't been great either. 18th in runs. Some bright spots throughout. Seems like when they hit the ball, they don't line it up with pitching, which is always tough. That's how you can get into these ruts if you're just not lining your stuff up whatsoever. But they've already kind of dipped in and like the reinforcements as far as like offensively, like they brought up Beatty, they have Alvarez there, and it's like these guys have actually been performing well for young guys. But those aren't the guys that you're going to rely on to like save your season offensively. It'd be nice to come get a jolt from them, and you might get a couple good weeks run out of them, and maybe they do carry you for a series. But it's those guys at the top of the lineup that have to do it. And like I said, Pete's overall numbers look good. He's going to have his times where he's struggling. Like I said, the last 14 days, not exactly great. But I think right now where their pitching is at, with them still trying to like get everyone back into the rotation, that's what has to go. You just got to bang the ball around a little bit. And it kind of just hasn't happened lately.
They're second in bunt hits.
Okay.
So, but
Daniel Vogelbach has a 400 OBP.
Their percentage of bunt hits is bad. So bunting a lot of outs, I guess.
bunting a lot. Carrasco comes back soon. He just made a rehab start. So I don't know. I guess, in 2 weeks, a lot can happen in baseball. If you went a week ago, the Mets didn't have Justin Verlander and Cookie Carrasco. In theory, they'll have both of them in the rotation in like another week. So you can change this tune pretty quickly. But like Jim said, with the schedule, like they probably know that, right? Like, so I don't know. It's going to be a little bit of everything. Getting Justin Verlander and Carlos Carrasco back, that's important, and the players are going to have to go. Whether it's the young guys or Alonso goes nuts for 2 weeks, or maybe just the whole lineup balances out. That right now you look at the Mets lineup and you see two different lineups. Like you want those top guys have kind of gone. They can obviously do more. They're great players. But the bottom of the line is one of the young guys going to go nuts, or one of the veterans going to figure it out? Like Marte got slid down the other day. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been struggling a lot.
Yeah.
I had something else to say. Shoot.
Okay.
Why did I forget what I was going to say?
I don't know. Last year they had such a good BABIP. That was what Strider was making fun of him for. Kind of like, you're getting lucky on your ground balls that you hit because they're a big ground ball team. And this year they're bottom in that. So maybe the shift is hurting the Mets, where they were finding more holes against the shift last year. Now they're just, I have no idea. Mets fans, let us know everything we got wrong, and then the things that you're like, yeah, that is a concern. The pitching.
Jolly.
I think they're concerned about everything.
Should be. It's not looking good. And the good news is, if they would have got Correa, he's not performing either. He just said, I'll boo me right now too.
I've been watching a lot of that. He also cited his low BABIP for a reason. Which, that does mean something. Like, typically you are a BABIP guy. Like, you have a certain, your mean, whatever it is, 315. You'll get back there. The one thing I forgot to mention that I always got to mention with the Mets is we're on Tommy Hunter save watch. We have it at 0.5 over under. He does not have a save yet.
Okay.
He does have 12 2/3 innings pitched. Which is like dang close to tops of that bullpen. Just so you know,
dang close.
Only D-Rob has 14 in the third, and he's like the closer.
Know what he had to do on Sunday, Trev? They needed him to eat it. Big Tommy Hunter threw 49 bullets.
Oh
Sunday.
My God! I bet he was screaming in the clubhouse afterwards. He does this thing on the flights where he goes like giddy up when you take off.
Okay.
To the plane. And I could just imagine him just screaming.
He does that.
He's a loud individual.
All right.
I feel like Tommy Hunter's just going to play forever because he'll just force his way into some front office meeting. He'll barge in the door and say, I'm going to be on your team. And then people are like, all right. You're just a big guy, kind of scary. So sure.
Do we want to pivot to a positive note before we go back to negative in the third topic?
No, I want to go Cardinals with you.
Wow.
I want to hear your take on this.
Can I
want to
give
just keep the negative. Let's just go down.
Can I give you a positive thing?
Yeah.
Trev mentioned he already celebrated his Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother's Day for the rest of the states is Sunday. And if you're trying to get your mom, your spouse, whoever it is, a Mother's Day gift they're going to remember. This is where I landed today. There's a lot of flowers, the socks they reference in here. You get them the diamonds, the lab-grown diamonds with Lightbox, which gives you pricing you'll understand a little better, if you know what I'm saying. That's going to be a gift that they're going to remember. My mom doesn't remember the flowers I got her.
Remember the 5th.
Well, the flowers are dead now, bro.
Yep.
But if I got
these
her
were
these
nice,
Lightbox,
Jakey.
if I got her these Lightbox diamonds, she'd remember that.
Mm-hmm.
She'd
Nice
remember
gift.
that. And especially, she wouldn't have to know this part with code TALKINBASEBALL10. Name of the show, 10. You're going to get 10% off your purchase. So click the link in the description. Shop Lightbox lab-grown diamonds. Code TALKINBASEBALL10. 10% off your purchase. It's this Sunday, fellas. So it's like go
Coming
time.
up.
Yeah, fuck.
Go time.
Oh, no, I got Katie a weekend away.
Ooh.
Nice.
It doesn't happen till Memorial Day, but I got it. That's kind of confusing me. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I got to get her like something little to just hand her.
Yeah, you
But
got
I got, like a card and flowers, but like I got the big thing.
Like a frog.
Can I get sadistic a little bit? Just
okay.
What I think about sometimes, if I buy Olivia like a piece of jewelry or something, it's like, yeah, I'm not a big jewelry guy, but I know, sometimes you got to do that. But what I think is, you know what? One day she's going to be able to like re-gift that to our daughter. And like, it just goes on and on. That's what makes me like, you're recycling your present. So then it's only half the price because it's 2 presents in one.
Olivia's like, why'd you get me this child's necklace?
No, I'm waiting. She doesn't say that.
Give that.
She did get her nice earrings from Lightbox.
Pass it down, Olivia.
Mother's Day.
It's not really for you. You just hold it for a little bit.
When you're dead, she's
just designed to re-gift.
My God.
You did get sadistic at the end.
One day, Mom.
It got a little sadistic. We can all be honest about it.
I love Olivia so much. My goodness.
All right. You want to talk about?
Let me throw some questions at you, bro, because we've talked about this a lot. Jake and I have been on the car, and I talked about this with Rosie. It's like just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I haven't talked about it with you guys a lot.
And I know the audience wants to hear your take because it's just like a fascinating start to the season for the Cardinals, and fascinating in the worst way possible. I guess what I'll ask you, James, is, are you okay with them? Because Oli Marmol said this is a proactive move if you actually look at it. Are you okay with them thinking that way, that this is a proactive move to get Contreras off the catchers, off of catching?
No.
So it like helps them quicker.
No.
And the season doesn't prolong.
No. I think the Cardinals are utterly embarrassing themselves, and I think that when the Yankees moved on from Jeter to Didi, I thought the Yankees fans and the Yankees did a poor job there. And I don't think we've ever seen a superstar and, legacy player leave and have what the fuck we're seeing right now. I mean, the pitchers aren't performing. And they're just blaming it on their new free agent prized possession. Don't even care if he's not Yachty. You knew that he's not Yachty, right? You signed him to be your catcher, and you're not even giving him a month. And there's so many other outliers that are going on with poor pitcher performance that like it can't just be him, And rhythm, game calling, we'll figure it out. It takes 2 to tango. Go have a meeting, because all their updates are like they were having mutinies, which is how this Cardinals team operates. They had a mutiny to out their last manager. They were a Yachty, like veteran team-led team, basically. That's how Schilt got the boot. And then it seems like through all these updates that they're just having these like player-led meetings, and Contreras wasn't part of them. He said he was going to play the outfield, and they're like, well, after talking to him, it's probably more DH. Like, what? You didn't talk to him before you told the media he was going to do the outfield? And then they still went back on that and like said, no, outfield. Then they said, they had, when he went back to Chicago, they had a long pitchers meeting with him, and they really poured into him and told him how much they love him and support him. Like, oh, so a pity fucking party for him? Like, after all this backlash, you guys really maybe realize like you're causing a problem here? But dude, I feel bad for Contreras. Now, I don't know everything going on behind the scenes because we aren't privy to that. So if there's stuff I'm missing, there's stuff I'm missing. But from the outset, this looks like they brought in a dude to be a punching bag. And if you needed a stopgap to just come in and perform poorly, and then you move on to your next like 5-year catcher, you should have done that. But it's kind of like awful.
He's such a different catcher than Yachty was too. That's the thing that you have to remember. Yachty had some good years offensively. Like he figured ways out to do that, but he was a defensive catcher. He handled the pitching staff. He understood game plans. He could read a hitter better than anyone. He could throw the pill a little bit. Wilson Contreras has never really been known for that. You played against him in the same division his entire career. You've seen him. You know the stats. If you're going to sign a guy to a contract like that, you do your due diligence. Like, you knew that you were not getting Yachty. You weren't going to. That's not what you signed up for. So if you want Yachty, you could have went and got, Rosie said, go get Austin Hedges, a guy that can handle pitching staffs, that is, can frame the ball and can steal some strikes. Like, if that's what you wanted and you could rely on the rest of your offense to give you your run production, then you should have done that. Like, you were bringing in Contreras he's an offensive minded catcher. He's an offensive minded player. That's what he is. And if you were hoping to turn him and his career around defensively in a spring training, like, that's typically not going to happen. So that's, to me, the most frustrating part is, like, you knew what you were doing, and then you're like, you signed a guy for specific reasons, and then now you're scapegoating him for those reasons. It's just doesn't make any sense to me. And the one point I did mention on our show, James, is, and again, I keep saying this so people know, I've not talked to Flaherty whatsoever about this. The only thing I talked to Flaherty about yesterday was, like, you're a fucking beast. Go get it. Nothing's changed. I just pumped him up. But I got to imagine, for this to happen, for them to come out and say, you're not going to be a catcher anymore for the foreseeable future, at least, there had to be pitchers going to the pitching coach saying stuff.
Absolutely.
The front office does not go in and do that without hearing that directly from some guys. Like, in my experience, that I'm speculating, but dang, I feel like I'm right on it.
Because you are. Because they kicked out Schilt. And because you're right. And because the problem here is they signed Wilson Contreras because he could hit, right? That's what Wilson Contreras has done at Major League Baseball. They wanted him to catch, but they gave him a 5-year deal. He's 30 years old. That they knew in the Wilson Contreras timeline there was going to be DH, and there's going to be maybe some corner outfield, maybe some first base. We'll see. But they signed Wilson Contreras because he can hit, because that's what he's done at the major league level. To bail on him a month in as the catcher, when you're right, he skipped the WBC to, like, catch these guys and learn these guys. And man, the pitching staff here, Trev, you drove the biggest nail through the coffin that I think the Cardinals front office should have came back on. The 2-strike homers. That tweet was going around the other day, and the Cardinals have given up the most 2-strike homers.
It's most 2-strike hits, too.
Guess what? I don't really care whatever fingers Wilson Contreras pressed on the PitchCom button. I was going to say fingers put down, but it's PitchCom life. Guess what? You didn't have to give up the homer pitch. Like, he didn't call for that. And yeah, Trev, I mean, hey, if you went to Jack Flaherty before the season and told him your stats would be this on May 10th, he'd probably give you some fucking cool answer because he's a cool guy and be like, not possible. But, they're there. Waino's been out. Matz has gotten crushed. Michaelis, I think he had a decent outing his last time out, where it's also April. Like, any major league player outside of Mike Trout, basically, can have a bad month. That to pull the plug this quickly, that just ain't it. So that's kind of the disappointing part, and how public it was. Like, you can say, like, hey,
why are they all about in public now? What's up with that?
Like, you can say, hey, we want to get Wilson some more DH days. We're going to work in some more of the catchers, and everyone would say, like, okay. Like, the Cubs have done that in previous years, and that's okay. Like, they brought in Yan Gomes while he was their catcher. So I hate how they handled the whole situation. I think we might have a situation of the players might have a little too much power. And I don't know. And where does Marmol sit in all of this? It's bizarre. And I bet on the Cardinals to win the NL Central.
Did they also lose their pitching coach, the Cardinals? I mean, they lost Yachty. Yes. They lost their pitching coach, all that. So is it no surprise that Jordan Montgomery is not struggling at all? He's like, what, guys? I had Gary Sanchez for a while. Like, you can't pitch without a good catcher? Shit. You're pretty spoiled.
We forgot to mention that in the
Gary
the Mets
just
segment
fucking
of this, by the
blocked
way.
everything.
He'll save the Mets. Gary will save the Mets.
Congratulations, you got Gary.
I mean, Monty,
King of New York.
you take away Monty's one bad game, a butter knife it. He's got like a 1.9 ERA in the other 7 or 6. Even with that bad game, he's got a 3.2 ERA. And maybe that's because he wasn't in this system that they pulled the plug on and they didn't know. Also, you have the new pitch clock. Like, it seems like their world got shook and they're just trying to blame it on Contreras instead of being like, shit, a lot of new stuff happened. Maybe we should adjust.
Well, I don't want to just kind of twist the knife in right here, but you mentioned Mike Maddox, who left the Cardinals in the offseason. You know where he's at now?
Texas.
The Texas Rangers.
And he looks so much better in a Texas uniform with that mustache.
He's
like,
a
it's like,
sexual
yeah,
man.
That makes sense.
That doesn't get talked about. He's a sexual man.
Okay. They've dealt with a few injuries themselves. 9th in ERA, 5th in WHIP, 6th in hits per 9. Two different voices. You had a guy, Mike Maddox, who's been doing it for a long time. You have Yachty, who's been doing it for a long time. You have those voices in those meetings. They're running them. Those two guys are running those fucking meetings. And now you got a couple of new dudes in there. And yeah, like you got to expect a little bit of change. But I don't know, man. Like the change isn't what they expected, apparently. I'm trying to think about this where it's not just like he's just a scapegoat. Like, what else could have happened? Is he underprepared? Has he not been preparing for these meetings?
Yeah,
I haven't really seen that in the press, but that could be the one thing they kept behind doors, maybe. Because everything else is out in the fucking open.
I don't know what to do with it. I'm saying it on the fly, which always works well with me. But catcher WAR also needs to be either thrown out or times 1.5 or something. Because I had Orioles fans responding the other day. Adley, since the Orioles have called up Adley Rutschman, I think they're 90 and 67. Going back to that Giants team that won 107 games, I think so much of that was attached to Hall of Famer MVP Buster Posey, who had a great season. Yachty, Trev, think about the stuff you just mentioned. Like, you're the first one to call us out on bullshit, and it's like, you're the manager. The players have to go. But think about the stuff you talked about with Yachty, like the best at reading hitters live at bat. How do we quantify that? We can't, and we don't, and we'll never be able to. Yeah, man, I mean, Yachty being gone was going to have an effect. It's either the Cardinals were blind at how big it was going to be, or they needed a scapegoat for this bad start, or I don't know, just bring back Yachty in any capacity right now.
We've been talking about that.
I think Yachty's
guy is ahead.
I was reading that. I think Yachty publicly said like he wants a break from it. He's managing and looking to be in a Spanish-speaking world for a little, is what I read. And
well, St. Louis.
Yeah.
Good for Yachty.
Oh, I love the Cardinals, but nah.
Every day he sits out from the organization, the paycheck gets bigger. He knows that. He's like, okay, guys, he's just watching this fire. He's got the hose. And he's like, I'll just let it burn a little bit more. Dude, I mean, I know this doesn't mean everything, but we're talking like Wilson Contreras is this absolute, brutal person behind the plate. Dalton on the sheet here. Wilson Contreras is tied for 10th with 0 catcher framing runs. There's 11 out of 27 catchers that are in the negative. So it's like he's been, in that regard, flat.
Dude, I wonder if you didn't shake off Yachty. So they aren't groomed to call pitches.
Hey,
you know what I mean? Because
also maybe they weren't pitching well.
Yeah,
you're getting rocked, Pop.
Big part of it. Yeah,
I hate catcher.
You know what you were talking about? Let's just get deep into the analytics because we love to do that on this show. You mentioned there's no way to quantify Yachty reading a hitter's swing. There should be a sequencing stat, shouldn't there? There's enough data now. If you follow up a fastball high and in on a guy that has these splits, you should go to this pitch because that's the best pitch, statistically predictive. I bet there's data that can do a sequencing stat.
Probably. Computers are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
All right, let's talk about Our guy
Wait,
Yoshi.
I want to ask you one more thing about that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do about Marmol? Are you in? Or are you out? Like the way he's handled this is clearly like not been great. But
He's giving me weird vibes every time I hear him talk. His argument with CB Buckner, where Buckner was in the wrong, that was still like bizarre. He had his press conferences. He has this real weird demeanor in them sometimes when I make breakdowns. And then it's like, wait, are you angsty right now?
he's combative.
He's combative and angsty and not calm. And you're supposed to want calm. It reminds me a lot of Jace Tingler. And I think they might be the last of their kind. And you see Bochy come in and just like, oh, we got real decisions now. And you see Melvin come in and they're like, I love the bullpen decisions. And you see these older, like experience, even Topper and Philly, like the calm, like Tingler and Marmol, I think are the last of their kind where like not a lot of experience. They came from a weird path. They were with the organization and they're players guys and they're going to fight for the players. And then they're just like angsty for no reason.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of off him. He did one press conference. It was like, you know what I liked? He was prepared for this one.
Dude,
then
he did one
started to
press
think about it. I was
conference.
like, you're over prepared for this press conference.
He did one press conference where he was taking sips of his water like a comedian uses like taking sips like as a punchline, but it was more for like his angst. He's like, yeah, so blah, blah, blah. And then like
he's 36 years old, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine me. That's my age.
That's so petty of me and whatever. And it was one press conference, but I was just like, oh, what's this vibe? You're supposed to be calm.
That's all we were reading. We're reading, body language and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right.
Wayno's 4 years older than him.
I can't imagine. Honestly, I can't imagine going in and trying to command a room like that at my age without having much managerial experience at the big league level. Obviously, I wouldn't because I'm young, but like that's like a thing. Like I'm sure he's up against it all the time, trying to be like, all right, I am the manager.
Well, and that's where
and there's a question mark at the end. I'm the manager.
Jimmy mentioned the word angsty. Like that's not a term you hear with any like great manager. That I don't know. I mean, it's hard to buy.
He also came out and said he was going to be the outfield, and then the Cardinals were like, nope, not true.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
well, what's going on here?
They handled all of that so poorly.
Also, if his pitchers were pitching better, we wouldn't be talking about him. So maybe they just need to fucking pitch better. I don't know.
I was also going to say on the manager front, because we've seen younger managers come and go in different sports, like even going to NFL, someone like Sean McVay was super young, but in that sport, when you're calling plays, like you can show your worth, and that's kind of what we just circled on Marmol. Like, what's Marmol gonna whisper into Wayno's ear? Like, yeah, 2-2 more curveballs, big fella. Like that's just not.
What is this?
How it works. Well, he's being sneaky about it. He doesn't want the other team to see, Trev. Come on. Manage one day in your life. Why don't you manage to give me a blue moon, Trev?
Wow.
I might have one today. We'll see.
I'd do it right now. It's 7:51 a.m. I'd have one.
Go out on the berm. Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball. Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. It was made at Coors Field, people. Denver, Colorado. Been there. Almost passed out in the stands once. Refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel. That's the difference, people. With their Belgian-style wheat ale. It's a one-of-a-kind beer, made brighter, full-flavored. It's a step up. It's a step up from those lame Joe beers. Get yourself a Blue Moon and get it delivered. Check out get.bluemoonbeer.com/baseball. Get.bluemoonbeer.com/baseball. The summer's getting nice. Click the link. Grill and chill with some Blue Moon.
Grill and chill with some Blue Moon.
One more thing on the Cardinals before we move on. We still got the
thing.
graphic up right here. I feel like we have to mention this. And now I got to get it back up. Where'd it go?
Okay.
I got it right here, guys. Don't worry.
Don't
Coming
worry.
into Monday's series against the Cubs, which they've won 2 games against the Cubs since then. Cardinals pitchers had a 5.13 and 201 and 2/3 innings when pitching to Contreras. and a 3.77 in 105 innings to reserve catcher Andrew Kisner. So, look, we said all these things, and maybe it's going to make a difference for them. And we could all have egg on our face. I don't know.
I guess what's the percentage?
They have egg on their face then.
Right.
They got 4 more years of Contreras.
Yeah, we all do.
It doesn't help them to just be like, this is a problem we can't fix, so we're going to fuck ourselves for the next 4 years.
That's what he was saying, like, we're being proactive about.
No, but you're not. You're digging a deeper and deeper hole
like when you
instead of
think
fixing
about it,
a problem
proactive.
and working together. So that's why they changed tune, and they were like, actually, we had a really good meeting. It was productive. It's like, yeah, do that. Do that first next time.
We'll say if Wilson Contreras
Trade 2 of your fucking outfielders, please,
to the Yankees
and get some other pitching, and then we'll all be like, okay, this all makes sense now. But right now, it doesn't make any sense.
Go hit Wilson.
Go hit Wilson.
Yeah, he's handled it well.
He doesn't give a fuck. He returned to Chicago, 2-hit day. Welcome back.
Can we talk about Yoshi?
We don't call him Yoshi.
Why?
Doesn't like Yoshi.
Hates that.
Fuck. Jeez.
It's like Lou Bob and La Pantera. He doesn't like Lou Bob.
Who cares?
I like Yoshi. Yoshi is fucking a great nickname if you ask me, but he doesn't like it. Call him Yoshida.
Why, there's no nickname? There's no shortened?
Dude, first of all, I always mention this, but Fire shirt on sale, shop.jomboymedia.com. We just put a Yoshida shirt on. It's got the cherry blossoms around it. It's a banger for summer.
That is sick.
It's a banger for summer.
All right. No,
It's like a concert shirt.
I can't. What's the nickname? What are Red Sox fans calling him?
Macho Man.
Ugh. All right. Cool. Well, he's awesome. And there's a little caveat to it. It's his first time around the league. I always like seeing second time facing guys, like the second time he faces this team, and they prep for him a little more. But everything you would possibly want him to be as a Red Sox fan, and everyone was laughing at the contract, and he's getting back at those people right now. But I just going through his splits, he's been incredible. Like, you cannot find a bad slash line, although I did find one, which I'll talk about later. But you
played yourself right there, Jimmy.
Well, 2 outs, runners in scoring position. That's like his best. 500 on base percentage. He's got a 462 batting average. So like all those like situational stuff versus righties versus lefties, the numbers are both same. He's actually way better on the road than at home, which is a little bizarre considering Fenway. But he's also a lefty, so I don't know how many fly ball outs he's hitting into at Fenway that maybe would be out or hits other places. But yeah, I mean, you just keep looking at it. He just keeps hitting for average. He's taking walks. It's pretty incredible.
Trev, how hard is it, or how easy is it to swing and miss at a major league pitch?
Oh, baby. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah.
No
doubt. Sometimes you're like, I don't know how I just swung and missed at that, but I did.
A Tuesday night game for the Twins. There's a chance you're going to swing through a couple. You can still have a great game. Masataka Yoshida.
Get to your freaking point. Don't you don't need to come at me.
He hasn't whiffed on a pitch in May. 102 pitches, 0 swings and misses. Dialing in. And yeah, Jim, I am interested to see, because he got off to a little bit of a slow start and then he started to go. So I wonder, baseball's the game of adjustments. Did he already make his first adjustments and now pitchers will come back? Trev, please.
He opened up his stance a little bit. They made a mechanical adjustment only at the beginning of his stance. I guess the swing they haven't really tinkered with yet, and they didn't really need to, but he was closing himself up, wasn't seeing the ball well. They opened him up. Sometimes when that happens, like if you think about it, let me see if I can get here. I'm closing myself off, and now here's my head. I'm looking this way, but you see my eyes aren't really centered. Open yourself up and you got a little bit better view. I mean, it's
especially
not
if
science,
your dominant eye is that, if you're a righty and your dominant eye is your right eye. And the way you test that is you look, I put my thumb over I close my right eye, put my thumb over Trevor's face, or both hands, both eyes, thumb over Trevor's face, and I close one eye. And with my left eye, It's way off, but my right eye, dead center. I'm right eye dominant. Do it.
Okay.
Put your thumb over my face.
Yep, got you.
I'm left
No,
eye
with both
dominant.
eyes. With both eyes,
Okay,
Trev.
both. Okay.
Well, actually, you just kind of hinted it. Now close your right eye and just your left eye. Is it way off now?
Yeah.
Now it's on?
Now my thumb is still on you.
Your right eye
This side.
dominant. So you needed your head fully turned when you hit it.
Yeah. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I did.
That's
Your
coaching.
left eye?
Yeah.
That's why you're so good. You don't need to turn your head so well.
But
this an
I have
optometry
to
pod?
because my neck doesn't turn well.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god. You know what neck?
Ooh, roasted.
But that's it. Look, he makes this adjustment. So now, a couple things can happen. They say, you'll see the ball better, but it could also just like slow your cadence down a little bit because you're feeling like you have more time, then everything kind of slows down. If you're feeling like you don't have a recognition phase, everything speeds up because you're just trying to get to where you need to get to, and you're just like not giving yourself time. So he made that adjustment. Immediately the ball started coming off of the ground and getting, back in the air a little bit. And I think it was April 20th. So 420, we don't know what he did on 420 to go along with this mechanical adjustment. I'm not going to say
something to
anything.
relax.
Maybe
him.
he put in the work while everyone else was getting high.
But since that day, yeah, he's been going off. And I love that because you talk about second time through the league and all this stuff. The ability to make an adjustment on the fly, the willingness to make an adjustment on the fly is something that you have to have if you want to be a good big league hitter. His numbers right now overall are disgusting. Like this guy looks like a steal.
I found a weakness, but it's actually
It's a good weakness.
It's something that is more likely he overcomes than the league uses to like doom him for good. Because it's lefties throwing breaking balls, which doesn't happen a lot because if you're lefty versus lefty, you're probably throwing like your changeup in or whatever. But yeah, his numbers when he's facing a lefty and that lefty throws a breaking ball are horrible. Only one hit in 16 plate appearances, a 36% whiff percentage, which is really high. So it's not like he is chasing them, and I think he'll get much better at that because discipline's one of his things. And I was looking at a lot of videos, and it's a lot of the sweepers away that he's kind of like half biting on, like doing a check swing. And I think it's more likely that he overcomes that and like
he'll figure that
starts
out.
figuring that pitch
He'll
out.
see more.
Then teams are like bringing our lefties and throw the breaking ball. Like those maybe start doing that bullpen wise for sure. Right. But lefties. Fastballs, he's like destroying. And every other split. But that was the only one. But I actually think that he'll get better at that. Also, Trev, as I mentioned the word sweeper,
this is big.
the sweeper's been diluted, and it's going to be a big fad pitch. It's not going to last. 4 years from now, there's going to be like 10 guys that throw sweeping sliders. And you're like, yeah, that guy throws a really like sweeping.
Ottavino.
Like, he throws a sweeping slider. And the fact that we gave it a name change, I think was very premature.
I hate all of that stuff with the name changes, dude. I can't stand it.
There's a lot of guys right now, and I'll name names, Weissert on the Yankees, Kelly on the Rays, who it's not actually a good pitch. It moves so much. But if I'm watching and I'm like, whoa, I had too much time to figure it out. Like we saw Weissert's sweeper from like a video of a fan in the stands. And I remember doing Talkin Yanks, be like, well, that's the first time like in a video like that, I could really see the movement. And then I clicked like, I don't think that's a good thing. It's 75 miles per hour. Righties are just, if they sit on it, it gets smoked. So I think the sweeper's been diluted and it'll come back to being like, a handful of guys throw really nice, slow sweeping sliders, but not everyone's got a slider and a sweeper.
They're just going by, with all the data that we have, we're just going by swing mechanics and biomechanics that they have TrackMan data on. They're like, okay, well, what pitch is hard for, this bat path that most hitters have? What pitch like doesn't cross that? And that's when the sweeper came about. But I talked to Rob Van Scoik of the Dodgers when I was down there, last week or whatever, and we talked about that. I'm like, how do you game plan now when it seems like these guys can just make up pitches on a whim? And he's like, we can figure all those out. Like if some guy's a sweeper dominant, this is what we do. I don't want to give his secrets away because I really respect him. He said the same thing because we don't care about that. Because we don't care about that pitch. We can crush that pitch. So I think you're right. Really, what pitching is about and what hitters have problems with is just
my pen.
Good location.
Yeah.
Like staying out of the middle of the fucking zone.
Yeah, because the lane for a righty-righty sweeper, if you want to try and get it in the zone and not swing and miss, is actually, it's like your blitzball slider, Trev. Like, you can perfect that.
Out.
But with the inside one, like the lane is, you're going to hit him or it's going to be sweet spot. And the damage of missing by 3 inches is like not a good risk analysis assessment if I was a RAA person.
You know who's okay? God, we're gonna go on a tangent here a little bit, but I watched Zach Gallen throw because we talked about this guy a lot, and I just
tough night.
The Diamondbacks were on. He was pitching.
Stronger.
I just wanted to see him. He is a fucking pitcher. Everything moves at the last minute like this. And he knows how to sequence with the best of them, dude. I think I talked about this on Baseball Today yesterday. I was trying to keep up with him, like in my mind, okay, you're going to go with this pitch next. And he calls his own pitches on his PitchCom.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep up with him. And a couple times I got in rhythm with him. And then other times, man, he just had me guessing up there. But everything comes out of the hand the same.
Yep.
And it's just going like all over. And he's on the outside peripheral of the zone. He's never in the middle.
There's a reliever on the Tigers that it's one of the breakdowns I'm editing right now that I did a little like overlay for. And it was one of the cooler ones where the break on the slider and 2-seam sinker was so late. I'm going to blank out his name. Brent. Tigers righty reliever with an American name. His American guy. It's like Brent Stocker or something like that. Okay. What the fuck am I thinking about? I don't know, but it was awesome, and I'm sorry that I forgot. Maybe Twins. Maybe it's Twins, not.
Oh, you were talking. I think you guys were both talking about this guy the other day, and I think
Bailey Ober.
You both got it. Brock Stewart. You both got his name wrong in the past couple episodes.
Yeah, Brock Stewart. Well, I'm complimenting him here. I'll learn your name now, but like it was one of the cooler true overlays of late movement of like because I think with some of the sweepers, it's not tunneling.
No,
because it doesn't go
straight out away from tunneling.
Yeah, it's like opposite of tunneling. So if you can read that, you can sit on it because it's so slow. But yeah, it was Brock Stewart. Brock Stewart.
Yeah, I messed that up the other day too because he got in and out of some really like a bases loaded jam in extra innings.
Well, hit by pitch that would have won the game, but he swung, and then he struck out the next 2. They intentionally walked 2 in extras to load the bases, and then he struck out the next 2. Although he did hit him. Closing.
I know we wanted to talk about more just like the Red Sox lineup banging. That's what it says right here. I love doing this. There, that's what it says right there. Jarren Duran crushing the ball. 991 OPS. Where did that come from? I missed that.
I think there's an article right now that Pedroia helped him or something.
Yes.
I think that's just a Sox pornography website. I think that's where you go.
That's what the Cardinals fans are begging for. They're begging for the first headline, like Yachty flew out to talk with Contreras.
Alex Verdugo in the 9s, straight at 900 OPS right now. Devers is doing it, 838. Even the guys, the older guys, Justin Turner's gotten it going a little bit. Connor Wong, who was in the Betts trade with Verdugo, he's posted a 107 from behind the plate, OPS plus. That's nice. They've been going, man, and their ranks amongst the rest of the league: 3rd in average, 3rd in OBP, 3rd in OPS, 3rd in runs. Whoops. This is the team that we thought they could be. We were always worried about the starting pitching. Still are. I still am. I mean, Sales he's had some good outings, but the rest of the staff, almost not so much. 28th in ERA, 25th in WHIP, but the offense has been banging enough where they're 3 or 4 games over 500 now.
I've got
5 games over 500.
I just read it's a Rosenthal article that came out 14 minutes ago on Pedroia, and it's actually I read the first 2 paragraphs. I will read the whole thing because it seemed cool, but basically Pedroia said, "I told him to get his fucking hands up like he's about to fucking hit something." And they asked Pedroia, and he's like, "Yeah, that is what I said." He said, because it's basically what
Belly.
Yeah, Belly and Jerry Hairston Jr. was saying, Belly, like, be athletic, dude. Like, get in a position where you're gonna like do something athletic. Don't just stand there still. And Duran said that he was like, it like unlocked him. He was like, oh yeah, like okay, like yep,
I'm an athlete.
Yeah, so that's
Sometimes
cool.
you just need to hear it.
Yeah,
I tell my freaking kids that all the time. My youth team, bend your freaking knees, get your hands up, and they're just like standing like this.
Horrified.
bored.
Been there. I have 3 closing notes. Zach Gallen, really good. I agree with you. He's a pitcher, Trev.
Thank you.
Down to 2.36 on the year. A little Yankees Red Sox for you, Trev, to get you excited for that. Get ready for June 9th through June 18th. In those 10 days, Yankees and Red Sox play 6 times. Your 2 cellar dwellers in the AL East fighting for jobs. That's going to be electric. And 3, you just mentioned Zach Gallen calling his own pitches on PitchCom. Why didn't the Cardinals pitchers do that?
Because Yachty called the pitches for years.
You hate Wilson so much? Here's a solution for you. You call it.
We don't know how. Yachty always did it.
Wake up.
You even need a catcher back there? Just like let's put,
Jake thinks it's
going
gonna
to
be a guy in a
the
bucket.
infield, and then we'll just have no catcher.
Just put a chair there.
I think the rules of baseball say one person has to start in foul play. So you start the first baseman foul, you get the catcher out of there,
You pitch to lefties in.
and that's Cardinals baseball.
Put Nolan Arenado behind the plate. Defensive wizard.
Do it.
Thanks, everybody. Love you so much.
Please,
May
Max
10th.
Fried, be okay. We love you so much.
Join my cult.
Baseball's going to South Korea.
Yeah, let's go to London, not South Korea. Bye.
Such an East Coast pod today. A little bit of Central.
Yankees
West Coast
Yankees would lead the AL Central, Trev.
What a freaking mid caption that was. Twins 4-3 versus Yankees this year. Season series win.